Hi guys, here's a video on something that I call priming. What is priming? Priming is a warm-up system that I use to get me ready for any heavy sparring, heavy training that I'm about to do. It's different from your standard jiu-jitsu class warm-up, i.e. shrimping, rolling, all that kind of stuff, in that it's not focusing on teaching you how to do specific jiu-jitsu movement patterns. The focus is on warming up the muscles, warming up the joints, of course, warming up the cardiovascular system, but importantly, it's about warming up, activating the nervous system. Why do we need to activate our nervous system? Because that is what controls our balance, our proprioception, our awareness of our body in space, our connection to our muscles. When the nervous system is warmed up before engaging in any sort of physical activity, you can engage in that activity at a much higher rate, at a much higher work rate. You're stronger, you're faster when the nervous system is primed and ready. It stimulates the muscle, the activation of the muscles much more effectively. When you're scrambling, when you're taking someone down, when you're being taken down, if your proprioception, if your nervous system is active, you're less likely to get hurt because your awareness of yourself in space is greater. This is a way that you can warm up safely. It's very quick. 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and you're done. But it activates the body in the most effective way that I know how. You don't need any fancy equipment, maybe a rubber band, a sports band, exercise band. You don't even need that. You can use yourself, the floor, some gravity. That's essentially, those are the ingredients that you need for priming. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to start with warming up my neck. When I'm grappling, when I'm doing jiu-jitsu or wrestling, I not only want to keep my neck safe by priming the muscles of the neck, getting the vertebrae loose and ready for action, but I use my head and of course my neck as a fifth appendage. I use it as a means to control an opponent just like I would my arms and my legs. Here is an alternative. If you don't have the band, you can use your hands. You just keep in a constant light pressure, using your hands, keeping that pressure on the back of your head and working the significant muscles of the neck. As you can see, I'm sort of corkscrewing my head left and right, and that helps to work out and prime the large muscles that run either side of the neck. Can't remember what they're called, but they're in there. Next we go to the shoulders. So again, using the band, I'm keeping constant tension in the band and rotating my shoulders through a full range of movement, full range of motion. Using the shoulders individually and then together, and just creating nice circular movements, getting the synovial fluid in the joint capsules flowing, warming up the joint capsules. If I don't have the band, then you can see here I can use my arm to warm up my shoulder. And again, constant tension, light tension. I'm not trying to strain my muscles before I've even had a chance to use them. Just keeping that light tension in my shoulder, using the other arm. I'm posting off my opposing arm and moving in a rotational fashion through the shoulder, warming up the shoulder joint. Here we've got me warming up my back and my biceps. Ordinarily a difficult thing to warm up the back and the biceps without equipment, but I am straining against the S grip. It's a sort of slow contraction of my biceps and my lats and everything else in the back against the S grip. And this I find very effective for priming the back and the biceps. Moving on, we have the spinal wave to get the synovial fluid, to get the spine mobilized nicely, get a little bit of synovial fluid flowing between the facet joints, between the discs. Important with this, I am keeping my butt clenched a little bit just to keep me based, and I'm sending that wave up through my spine from my hips all the way into the neck. So you can see I'm doing it from the front. That's forwards and backwards. We can also go side to side. So again, staying nice and loose through the torso and just allowing that wave movement to travel all the way up through the torso, through the spine, gently and into the neck. Really nice one there for mobilizing the spine. Now with this one, very important to clench the butt to keep yourself base so you don't strain your lower back. So my feet are screwed into the ground. I'm clenching my butt to keep my base very solid. And I'm just moving through my the middle part of my spine, really. Here we've got some rotations going on. Again, these are all variations, just warming up the spine. I'll just do a few repetitions of each of these things, or I'll do them for 10-15 seconds a piece. Moving on, we're warming up the glutes. So all of our power comes from our glutes. The hips and the glutes are the powerhouse of the body. So very important to activate these incredibly strong, powerful, dynamic muscles. So again, I am squeezing, I'm driving my elbows into the ground, squeezing my hips into the sky. One leg is raised, so I'm doing it one leg at a time. Notice that my toes are pulled back. Now that puts more focus on my hamstrings, keeps the hamstrings active throughout the movement. Here you can see me elevating my legs so I can get an even wider range of movement. Now, moving on to very slow quasi-isometric press-ups. Now this is warming up the triceps and the chest, and I'm squeezing constantly. I'm trying to squeeze the ground beneath my hands. I'm trying to push, of course I'm trying to push the earth away, but I'm keeping a constant tension in that circuit running from my hands through my chest. You can vary this by dropping to the knees, just a sort of an easier variation of this movement. Here's a close-up of the breathing that I employ, because it's important to breathe correctly during, especially things like isometrics, quasi-isometrics, because your blood pressure can shoot up if you hold your breath. I'm going to do a video on breathing correctly for this sort of stuff at a later time, but here I'm using burst breathing, so it's just little breaths into my thoracic, into my chest cavity, basically. Little short breaths, burst breaths, just to keep my blood pressure level. Here's a variation where one leg is raised. Now this is great for activating the core, for focusing a little more activation into the core, because I'm keeping an unstable base now with one leg raised. Moving on to more specific core priming exercises. Here I'm doing some V-sits. Do these nice and slow. Again, we're not doing them for reps, for speed. This is not a sort of a hypertrophy workout. I'm not trying to increase the size of my muscles. I'm just trying to activate the neurology, trying to activate my nervous system. Here's a variation where I'm just focusing on the adductors. So of course this is very important for things like throwing up triangles. This is a fairly common warm-up in jiu-jitsu classes, but very important. We do a lot of pulling from inside the garden. If the adductors and the transversus, the rectus abdominis aren't all warmed up, that's where you can get some injuries. Here's another variation. This is I guess people call this the Spider-Man. This is a great full body priming exercise if you do it slowly and do it with conscious, connected breathing. Now the final exercise for warming up the core and priming my balance centers, my proprioception, is this. I'm just sort of walking fairly slowly on my hands and my toes. I'm trying to keep my back parallel to my stomach and my back parallel to the floor. That forces a lot of tension into my core, and this is excellent for increasing your proprioception, your general body awareness. Now I'm going to finish off all the priming with some burst push-ups and burst squats, just to flood my arms, my chest, my legs, especially my knees, flood them with blood, flood them with lactate, just to get them really well warmed up before getting into training. I don't do these for very long. I'll do sort of 30-40 repetitions a piece. Here's a variation, alternating the legs. And that's it, guys. That's priming. I don't do the whole routine that I've just demonstrated to you. I'll do a couple of exercises for each body part, depending on what I need on the day, depending on what I feel like, and the whole thing takes between 5 and 7 minutes. But after a good priming routine is completed, I will feel very activated and ready to spar hard. Doesn't take long. I don't need any significant amount of space. I don't need any kit. Don't need anybody else. I just need the floor, gravity, and my body. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this priming routine, if you use any of these techniques, and I will see you next time.